All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the JEARTcast. I'm joined today by John Lupinefiasco, Elly Bird, and Rob OllinTogether, and me and Tegan. We're going to be talking about some recent developments in Flesh and Blood lately, but before we get into that, I wanted to kind of give a little check-in with people, like how's everyone doing, and what have folks been kind of up to recently. I know we had some kind of big events recently. So, John, do you want to kind of start us off? Any kind of good showings lately, maybe?
Yeah, I've been doing really well. I came in second at the Golden Gate Battleground a couple weeks ago, playing Jarl Vitradi. It's my first big showing with a Guardian hero. Went undefeated until I was defeated in the finals, as one does, and then
Awesome.
took Jarl and day two the Pro Tour, which was my first day two of a Pro Tour, and now I get to put Jarl on the shelf because Betsy is a better Guardian, and also Warrior got a huge buff, which is really bad for Guardian. So we got our
I
money and we're
Nice.
we're out.
I will push back on that one, but we can talk about that later.
Nice. Well, congrats on the day two. I also that was my first pro tour as well. I scrubbed out completely day one, but I did a little bit better in the calling, so I made a little bit of cash with Marlin, which is fun.
Nice.
But yeah, whole video on that. You can go find it somewhere else. Elly, how have you been? How's Yuki been? I know I caught up with her at the pro tour.
Yeah, Yuki's doing great. She had a great run at the Pro Tour. She was very sad to come ninth, but I also was a little bit like, I mean, if we put this in context, your past two Pro Tour placements have been second and ninth. Like, I feel like beating yourself up is just like the most like your experiences are not universal thing ever. She's pretty happy with the performance now.
Nice.
I was not at US Nats because
Pro Tour
I'm
Las
Canadian.
Vegas.
No. US Nats,
Oh.
right? Like,
Yeah.
because like we recorded before that last time, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
we were
point.
before that. So I wasn't at US Nats on account of being Canadian. Casted Canadian Nats, which was a lot of fun. I think those VODs may be lost to history, but I think we might be trying to do something about that. There was copyrighted music somewhere in there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that's it. I'm chilling. I didn't get to go to the Pro Tour because immigration sucks, but at some point I will get to start traveling again, probably within the next few months, which I'm looking forward to. I miss traveling and competing and casting and being allowed to do all of those things. So once that gets sorted out, I'm sure I'll be back on the road.
Nice. Well, good luck with the
That was good.
Canadian government. Rob, what have you been up to?
Unfortunately, kind of a lot of nothing. I've had a lot of personal stuff these last couple of months, so I haven't been able to. Like, I wasn't able to play the GGB that John did, or I wasn't able to go to the PT. I did okay in US Nats, but I really haven't been playing a lot of Flesh and Blood until like these last month or so. So day twoing after like not practicing at all felt pretty good.
Nice. Awesome.
Wait, you didn't ask me what I was doing.
What have you been doing?
I went to
Oh, you did go to
Yeah, I have some Vegas stories. I played in a bunch of LL events at the Pro Tour Las Vegas and got to play Kano again, and did really well and have some like pretty fun stories about it. But yeah, I had a great weekend. It revitalized my love for the game to go and play LL and also see everybody. I've been feeling a little like I don't know, like weird and kind of like there's like a malaise about it, but I also haven't been to a ton of events, so going out, seeing everyone, and actually playing the game was great.
I think the negativity spiral is actually something I'm like pretty interested in talking about lately. But that aside, are you gonna go to Atlanta and play the LL championship there?
Well, I would, but it's too close to when we're planning on moving.
Mm-hmm.
So
Too
we're
expensive, too much time.
Yeah, and like also once we move, it's like there's always like this weird thing of like let's just like readjust, and like
Yeah.
we're planning on moving back to a place we
I don't think
live.
that's weird. I think that's very normal.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be like, well, I don't want to leave the place that we just moved to because I really like it here. So we're gonna like take time to do all sorts of stuff that we really like, go to armories and stuff there. But if I were able to go to Atlanta, hot dog would I play Kano in the LL event? I think that format's really good. Was my takeaway from the weekend. There was a lore book event. so like whoever got first, it was like a competitive event. Like you need a deck list, which is really interesting. And whoever came in first got the lore book. And I made it to top 4 before like whiffing on a Sonic Boom into a Prism. Who I would like if the Sonic Boom had anything other than EPOT, I would have had the lore book, like almost for sure. But oh well. That I still had a good time. But yeah, there was not a single like Starvo, there was no Chane, there was no Dio. It was just a bunch of people playing decks that they seemed to really like, and all the decks were pretty good. But at the end of the day, the best decks were Kano, Zen, and Prism, which is really funny and makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like Kano kind of eternally has a spot in LL. I love LL. I was very sad to see it go. I feel like at Worlds, I think it's like a little bit of a like challenging thing because it's really hard to keep a format around that people just don't want to play. And I think they had this big problem of people just not wanting to play LL. It's like cards are hard to source. It's like got a fair bit of buy-in, even if these like old banned legendaries aren't expensive like anymore. You still have to track them down. And that sort of thing. There's a lot of like challenges for the format, but I would like to see it come back. I would like to see it come back with a little extra support. I thought the format was like great.
It was a good format. I think, Elly, you made the point, even like you and Peter both posted at the same time. I know this is ancient history now, but you
This
and
is
Peter
old, though.
both posted about how great LL was now that you were actually practicing the format. And that was my takeaway, practicing with Metal Fab as well, is like, all right, fine, I'll eat my veggies. Oh, it turns out these veggies are actually really tasty.
Yeah, as it turns out,
some
like
pan-seared zucchini over there. That's good
all
stuff.
of the those
cheese
cards
on
that
this
they
broccoli.
banned, like it turns out lots of those were very fun. And it's fun to play Art of War, and like it's fun to rip Tome of Aether off the top and be like, wee, and just like have everyone go like, oh no. It's really fun to make a Droid player very upset that you kill him in response to their Thermai. Not naming names. But yeah, it like I got to play Kano into Zen like 4 times, and each time I was like, this is great. Like it was just 2 people who were like, all right, cool, let's do it. And so like I think one of the games my Zen opponent like turn 1 was like, here's 25 damage, crack stubbies. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then on my next turn, and then on my next turn, I was like, guess who's dead? 40 damage.
Yeah. I think like LL is like Living Legend games of Flesh and Blood are not always the games I want to play, right? Like
Sure.
if you told me that like 30% of all of my LL, like all of my Flesh and Blood engagement going forward was going to be LL, I would be pretty happy. But I think any higher than that, I would be like, okay, like this is a bit much. But it's fun.
Fair.
I don't know. I feel like Living Legend is such a good example of like the concept that a game doesn't need to be balanced to be fun. It needs to be fun to be fun. And I think like I don't know. I like
the games are also fast.
I like drawn cards. Yeah, they are fast. They're
we did a super armory. There wasn't very many people in the super
Arvo
armory.
games are not fast.
And I think there was like 4 or 5 players in the super armory because everyone else was like, oh, I want to get like this promo doing this other thing, playing CC. And so we were able to get through the super armory in about an hour, like under an hour, which was great because then it's like, cool, well, do you want to go to dinner, honey? Because I thought I was going to be here until like 8 o'clock. And as it turns out, 5 people, 2 of whom are playing Kano, were able to get through an event really quickly. And it was also just kind of neat because it seemed like a group of people who were like just excited to see their old friends again. That's what playing Kano felt like. Was like, it's my buddy. I get to hang out with my friend who's like gone away to college upstate. And just like getting to do fun stuff again. So it was a good time. And then also I got to meet James White at Pro Tour Las Vegas. He did the meet and greet, and I got him to sign my playmat, and I got him to sign my eye. And he's a very nice person, and he told me a story because I had heard a rumor from someone from like New Zealand who's like, oh yeah, as it turns out, Blazing Aether also used to draw cards equal to damage dealt. And I was like, that ain't true. So I asked James, and he's like, no, that's not true. It was a different card called Opus Arcane. And he's like, yeah, it was a yellow 1 cost, deal 2, draw cards equal to damage dealt. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that must have like got pulled early on in Arcane Rising. He's like, no, that almost got printed. I was like, oh. What happened? He's
God.
like, I'm like, did it like get pulled out and turned into Krakens? He's like, no. It turned into Sonic Boom, which is great because that's one of my favorite cards. I'm like, well, how did Krakens get printed? And he kind of just like looks off into the distance and pauses for a moment and says, and this is a quote, "I don't know how the fuck Krakens got printed." And then we did like a picture shoot, and I said thank you for your time, but it was a great experience, and he's a super cool guy.
I think he also got
James is
confused
really
by
pleasant.
Flush and Bad.
Oh yeah, I told him we had a YouTube channel. And he's like, "Oh, what's it called?" I'm like, "Flesh and Bad." And he's like, "Flesh and Bad." And I was like, "Because we're bad, not because the game's bad." He's like, "Thank you for clarifying."
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a cool guy.
That's so
I had a
funny.
great time meeting him.
Well, speaking of James, we also saw him kind of release what is it, set 20? Usurp the
Set
Shadow
20.
Throne.
Usurp the Shadow Throne.
Is that 20, right?
It's
It
20.
is set 20.
Okay, it's cool.
20.
Made sure I got the
Monarch
right
throne.
number.
Erathael.
You're right at the
Erathael, I think is how you say it. I've only
Eratha?
The
No,
way
it's not
it is
Erathael.
spelled is Earathel. Every time I hear James White say it, no offense, it's different.
well,
Which
Chane
is
in
fine,
the trailer
right? Like
said
he made it. That's
Erathael,
his
I think.
right.
Yeah.
It is
Different
his right.
pronunciation.
I don't know. It could be anything. I'm
dealer's
glad
choice.
it's called Usurp and not Erathael.
Yeah, well, okay. The set is called Usurp the Shadow Throne, and we got 3 new heroes. So we got Viserai returning, or I guess two new heroes in Leviathan. And then we also got Malice, which is pretty cool. But I'm excited for this set. I think it's going to be kind of as similar like 5 times T, where it's like mono talent, and then you have like the 3 kind of classes around it, which is kind of, I feel like, a good formula.
Just like Omens, which from what I understand on the Limited is pretty solid. I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but I'm very excited for Usurp Limited.
Omens
John's
is
doing
like,
this, so I don't know.
I'm curious to hear
Yeah.
Elly's thoughts. I have thoughts on Omens.
I feel like my experience with Omens was like really early on in the format. I was like, this is sick. This is so deep. This is so interesting. This is so fun. And then the more I played it, the more I was like, I feel like it's like slightly too high. This isn't to say that I don't love it, right? I feel like every time I talk about like a newer limited set, if I have something negative to say about it, there's an implicit baseline that this is like an 8 out of 10 compared to
Yeah.
like everything that came before Bright Lights.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's just true. Like they leveled up their limited design in a huge way, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
There are some older sets that I quite like, but for the most part, like I really think of like Bright Lights and Forward as like a big change. But yeah, I think it's like a little too explosive. I think like the set has this really weird issue of like it's really low power, right? So the difference between a 3-0 Ziggy deck and an 0-3 Ziggy deck can be like 2 cards.
Yeah.
And so you can have these decks that you look at like holistically and you're like, this is such a good deck. Like I have a couple stinkers, but like what went wrong? And then the answer is the stinkers lost you every single game you played.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating sometimes. And it makes it like hard to navigate drafts and like where to pivot and like how to learn from your mistakes. And I felt like the more I played it, the more I was like, I'm ready to move on. I also thought Acilio was too good. That said, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Burn Bear Unlimited is a hell of a drug.
Who's
Like
card
10,
is that,
10
though?
burn
Who's
bears
slow?
unlimited.
Yeah. Seems good.
With no
Burn
AB?
Mindfire.
Chromatic Refinement Meteoric Impact is a real combination of cards that both come in common. So you're going to see that probably every draft.
Yes.
I still
One of the Acilios will just stab it.
Just send you to
Yeah.
God. Same day shipping.
I still think it's very funny that like I watch a lot of like Paul Van Eysel's streams and videos, and he was talking about like 4 Acilio is like optimal in like a pod.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah.
I hate
makes
that
sense.
sort of thing.
I
I
think
hate to
we
hear about that.
Had that like I think we had that realization pretty early too. It was just like this hero is so good that everybody should be like considering drafting him. Like
Yeah.
I would just like have these moments where someone would pass me like a red Acilio spell, and I'm like, this was your mistake.
Yeah.
Right? Like this
Yeah.
was what you did wrong. You passed a red Acilio spell. You can't open a pack and see red meteoric impact and pass that.
Yeah.
Acilio really does define that format. I largely agree with Elly as like there can be very deep games. I've had games go to fatigue. I've had games where tracking the pitch was extremely important just to know what's in second cycle. Okay, now I have to play around the cosmic space dust. Like there can be very deep, meaningful decisions and interactions. There will also be games where you've drafted correctly. You ate your veggies. You drafted the brush offs and the thunderous retorts and the spellbane sigils, and you had the Acilio hate, and then it was in the bottom 20 cards of your deck, and you died. Like, it is a very variance-driven format where you can have really good games, or you drew, you had 5 instants in your Ziggy deck, and you drew them all in the same hand, or you played the Aurora Mirror and you lost the die roll. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just have these very non-games in what is otherwise a pretty deep, rewarding draft experience.
I agree.
But Usurp.
But Usurp.
But
Usurp.
So
Usurp.
Usurp.
So what are y'all, I guess, excited? So I think Omens, I guess we're kind of coming off the back of it a little bit and then going into Shadow Throne. So like, what are y'all, I guess, excited for with the new set? Like anything that's
Viscerai.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm stoked for
Viscerai.
Viscerai to come back.
Yeah, I love Runeblade. I miss Runeblade being like in the game and present and good, and I was pretty disappointed that Aurora is like both not very strong and doesn't really feel like a Runeblade and like blah 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 blah. And so I'm like, okay,
Viscerai
Viscerai,
feels
like,
like a
now
Runeblade.
we're
That's
gonna
a
fucking
we're
And
gonna
all
Runeblade.
in the
spell
worst
swords
ways
stuff.
too.
I want to resolve Revel in Runeblood.
I never played Chane when he was legal. Unfortunately, I got into the game too late, and then really like had not developed my tastes in aggro to appreciate Chane when he was legal. So I never got to play him. I never got to play Viscerai because I was stupid and should have done it but didn't. And now I get to play both of those heroes at the same time.
So,
It's true.
I was like, this feels like this is so dope. Like I was like just kind of practicing him a bit. I had turns where I'm like, yeah, that was sick. And then like I would draw in a hand of 4 non-attacks. I'm like, yeah, we're back. We're so back.
We're
This is
back.
This is exactly
Like
how I
when you
remember
channel-
this.
That's the Runeblade I know and love.
It's like when you
Sweet.
channel force somebody, hit them for 30, and then your next hand is like nimbleism, like weave earth lore surge, and you're like, that's not good. Like,
Yeah, Viscerai seems like he's pretty strong, or like I don't know, like it depends, I guess, what cards we see in the set, but like initially seems pretty strong. Leviathan also getting a lot of stuff is pretty cool. Like the new cards they at least spoiled on stream seem like really good for her.
Her whole thing is nuts. Like,
Yeah.
they spoil her new ally that she can summon, her new Plasma Fat, and I'm like, we see the Marvel. So there's I cannot tell the rarity of this card, and we see the 3 for 7 that summons it, and I'm like,
it's a
damn,
token.
this
Yeah.
is her majestic. This is like her whole thing. This is what
Sure,
they're building
sure.
to. This is insane. And then I see the base versions, and it's like, this is what she does in draft. This is just
Yeah,
like her deal.
Yeah.
It's
We're
black.
like,
Notably-
this time for sure.
Notably, Plasma Fat cannot attack
Yes.
on its
Yeah.
face. So I suspect like Plasma Fat also banishes itself if you don't pay the tax. I suspect it'll actually probably just be like a cheeky way to turn off Blood Debt, and there might be a card or two that makes you attack with it. Is like kind of my guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think you have to do it on both turns, right? Also, is like how that works.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Mm.
So it's like a little bit worse than just like having it around forever.
Gotta pay for the gates somehow. Like
Somehow,
those seem
yeah.
messed up in Leviathan.
Yeah.
I think that design is really cool. And then we also saw Malice. We have zombies that also have blood debt, which is kind of interesting. So maybe these allies will finally have like a little bit of a downside to them. It's kind of like an interesting design.
At
Maybe.
least the corpses too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But like being able to like if you just have so much blood debt and like killing yourself that way, like Vincent does, I think it's cool.
Mm.
We'll see like how the numbers actually feel. Like it may just not matter.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice giving them a downside besides they don't block, because if they don't want to block anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was like not much of a downside in Griddy that the allies didn't block because the rest of the deck blocked super well. And then they printed base of the mountain, so you could like just base and go like, cool, dump all my allies. They're all in the bin now. I'll draw back up on my because it's your turn 1 or whatever. So I don't know. I think they're still trying. It's weird to say this, but they're still trying to like hit their stride with ally decks. Like they've not. I don't know if this is necessarily fair, but I feel like there's a sweet spot and they're not entirely there yet.
I agree.
I think and Rob's about to crucify me for this one, but I think Gravy's pretty close to the sweet spot because they don't all implicitly have go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gravy right now is closest to the sweet spot. I think
They should
Gravy
unban
last
more of
year
his cards.
was maybe one of the best decks they ever put out.
Yeah.
Like I think Dromai is probably the closest, like pre-book. Was probably the closest where I'm like happy with like this is like a pretty good ally deck, and I think most people have play on both sides. I think there were some decks that were really limited by her, but like Prism was also like pretty close. I know not everyone loves like current Prism, but like, or I guess Prism 2 rather than current Prism. But yeah, it's I think
Prism
they're getting
2
closer.
ruled.
We'll see what Mouse does. I just don't want to like just block the entire game and then hope you lose. Like I don't think that's interesting for either of us.
Yeah.
Like I want to play tempo and I want to play like we used to play the Dromai matchup where like I tried to kill you, but I also tried to kill allies.
Well, speak
I
for
felt
yourself
like
because I
the
find it interesting.
thing. True. I like Decay as like a floodgate on how many allies can be on the board. I felt like some
Mhm.
amount of the challenge with Gravy was that like I think they were under the impression that the allies not really being very easy to swing with go again would like stop it from gating low action point decks out of the game like too incredibly hard. But I think like Avasti and all this rum generation is like a little bit more aggressively useful than they thought it would be. But I think like Gravy's mostly fine. I think like my real takeaway from Gravy is that his allies are super overstated because like if you look at like when High Seas came out, I'm pretty sure they were designing Gravy to keep up with like Art of War decks, right?
Yeah,
Like they were
yeah,
still
sure.
balancing against that. So it's like, is Rigor Mortis like a 2-card 10? Yeah, that's completely ridiculous. But like they were also probably expecting that to be playing against like Art of War 5, right? Like
I think like Gravy's interesting because it kind of just proves that Fab is at its core just a game about math. And like Gravy's numbers are just ridiculous because
yes.
it's like, okay, Rigor has 1 health, and it's like, cool, but you're not sending something that does 1 damage into it.
Yeah.
You're sending a CNC into it, or you're sending, some
Titan's
hammer.
Fist.
Titan's Fist or
Titan's
some other
Fist.
thing. So you're losing value and Gravy's gaining value. And it's part of the reason why I'm like, okay, please LSS stop printing allies and expansion packs. Like we're good. Like let's print more cards that do more interesting things other than allies, because like you're not gonna power creep Rigor Mortis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I actually
guy's
kind of
that
felt
guy's
for
a
a long
beast.
time. I kind of felt for a long time like I appreciate that they probably don't want to ban the like allies, but it was interesting to me that they banned like Chart and Tipple when I kind of felt like they could have just like shot like Chum, Rigor Mortis, Sawbones and made you play with the stinkier ones.
Mhm.
And I feel like the deck gets to do the fun and exciting thing, but is also way more fair.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's like
Nah.
a different one. I think the problem with that is like the marvels, right?
Yeah,
I think that
probably
is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think Chum's fine. I like Chum. If you're like, we have to ban one of your allies, I'd be like, well, don't. But if they're like, no, seriously, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. I would say like, why don't you take Rigor Mortis? It's probably the best numbers. And if someone would argue with me on that, I'd be like, all right, well then, fuck you then. Like, don't ban any of them. Yeah, but he's like, I think that like circling around to Mouse, I think that I like that they're continuing to do Necromancer play stuff from the graveyard. I like a lot of the cards that we've seen. There's that one that puts allies from the Banish Zone into
Bridge of Damnation.
Bridge of Damnation. I want to say Bridge from Below, but I'm like, that's magic.
That's
That's
not
bad.
the name of it, but that's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
the name of it.
I'm gonna call it Bridge from Below.
Yeah. Hogak. That'd be cool if she had a card called Hogak. And it was
That's
the
a
same
weirdly
exact guy.
specific.
Weirdly
It's a weirdly
specific name.
specific.
Really specific
name
name
you
to have
mentioned.
taken. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm excited for her. It's cool that she's also the lady from the Dead Threads art.
Mhm.
Normally,
Yeah.
I don't think that normally happens. Where it's like, oh yeah, it's this person.
Hollow or no, not Hollow.
Victor Goldwing
Jarl.
was in
Jarl.
Jarl. It happened with Jarl. Victor Goldwing was in flavor text for Battle.
That all
of the
you
God.
got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done it once or twice. I wonder how much of it, if any, is based on player reception.
Yeah.
Like
I think a lot
we
of
get
it
the
is.
art from Dead Threads, and people are like, "Damn, I want to play this person," and LSS is like, "Well,
We
we
got you."
were going to do a Shadow Necromancer, and it was going to be some rando, but what if we
I
made
don't-
it this chick?"
I don't know if I actually think that the turnaround time is there. I think Malice was probably always going to be Malice.
Yeah,
Probably.
I can kind of see it.
One of the
I'm also
stages we're
trying
gonna
to
have
see
like
if
an
right
exact
now if
timeline of how
there's-
long a set takes to make, and we'll be able to answer all questions.
That's true. I'm not trying to see if there are any other characters mentioned in flavor text that eventually appeared.
Valda,
Valda.
No, Valda was in set 1 on
Cranial Crush.
Cranial Crush, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess
that
that's
appears
true.
a hero
Yeah.
We
later.
took 2 sets. Yeah, Valda
Yeah.
was the first time they did that, right?
Yeah.
With Blitz Valda, but then it took her like 5 more years to come to CC, right?
I think Vipox has something about.
Vipox
I
had
think
the
that
Yeah,
had
it
spider
mentions
on
the
it. We didn't have an
spider.
Arachne
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
He's on
Arachne
it.
on the card and mentions the spider.
Trying to think of other ones.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
looking, I'm digging.
I know we're waiting on a few. Like we're waiting on the new illusionist that's been referenced a few times. Whose name
Amira
starts with an
Solana.
A.
Super Slam.
We're waiting for the alchemist that we've seen referenced a few times.
You think that's ever gonna
Okay.
happen?
Probably not.
Maybe.
I feel like
I'm sure it
Alchemist
will.
just has like, I feel like something they've talked about is they try not to actually make new classes where like existing class talent combos like would suffice, which is why Bolton is a light warrior and not just like a paladin because he's like explicitly a paladin
Mhm.
within the story. I feel like Alchemist has so much overlap with Wizard that they would just do like a talented wizard.
Bolton should be a paladin, though.
He is.
Because he doesn't do any of the warrior things. He's got a bunch of attack actions and like.
Yeah, but it like opens up future design space rather than aggressively siloing stuff if you make him a talented warrior rather than here is a class that we have to support and he also
Yeah.
gets
I
the
guess.
benefit
I
from
guess
like
that's
warrior
fair.
I don't know.
equipment.
I could see if the game goes long enough that, like, if we're 20 years from now and they will have to expand it at some point just to keep the game fresh without being like, here's another here's the 15th new mechanic we've given to Warrior because we got to do something.
Speaking of Mastery Pack Warrior,
Mastery Pack
Mastery
Warrior.
Pack Warrior, we did it! Segue!
Segue. Who's excited about Mastery Pack Warrior? We got any Warrior fans in the chat? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be a new one.
I think it
I'm
looks
big
cool.
stoked.
I'm pretty excited that at least they're going to be getting support, which also bodes well for Ranger in the future, hopefully. Haha.
Haha, unless.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Sorry, it's Mastery Pack Runeblade later this year.
It's probably going to be Ninja. Because they've done 2 WTR classes, and I have to imagine they're going to do Ninja Brute before they do Wizard, Runeblade, Mechanologist, and then finally, after years, Ranger.
Yeah.
And you'll get no support in the meantime.
None.
None.
Much as I
Yeah.
don't want them to do Mastery Pack Ninja because it would support 2 of the heroes that I hate the most, which are Katsu and Ira. It would finally push Katsu to LL, which would take Kadachi out of the format, which would
I
effectively
was
Well,
gonna
kill
say,
Ira.
can I
Ira.
ask a challenging
on.
question about why you dislike those heroes?
Wait, I want to own John with facts and logic real quick. You say it would support Ira, but it's Mastery Pack Ninja, not Mastery Pack generic 2%.
You're so
Yeah.
well. They always print a good generic Majestic, and that
That's
is
fair.
exclusively what Ira plays.
Yeah, but it's a good generic Majestic into those ninjas. So it has to
It's
beat
true.
Ira.
I hate
Who
that
just
deck so
plays it?
much.
Ira can just like embrace her status as an honorary warrior by playing hate cards for the mirror.
That's true.
Elly, I can answer both of your questions. I hate Katsu because Bonds of Ancestry specifically does not help Phi. And it came out at a time where it's like, what do you mean Phi the ninja is not getting support in the ninja class outsiders? So I hate I hate Katsu because of Bonds of Ancestry. I hate Ira because she has no personality besides let me play 60 generics at my 80 card deck. And the other 20 cards are blue block 3s that will never get played. They will only
The
block
normal
No
the
SpongeBob
equipment in your
deck.
80? Where's the equipment?
You don't need it. Yeah, Fiddler's
Yeah,
Green.
what's the ninja? Okay, so Shuko is a block 2.
I don't get the like. I don't understand the beef people have with generics. They're fine. They're just like they exist.
My beef's
to bring
not
up
with
the floor on
generics with
everybody's
Ira.
deck.
I just think
With
Ira's
Ira
very
specifically.
boring.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I think they're more than like just good. I think generics are great for this game. I think
Yeah.
Ira plays. I think there's a lot of really cool generics that only some heroes play, and it's a way to do multi-class or like gold cards that Fab doesn't allow you to do. Like cards like Rouse the Ancients don't work in a lot of decks, but Brute and Guardian can play them, and this was before we had Brute and Guardian cards. Like things like Looking for Scrap is like a interesting way to get go again in some classes that don't. Like it can help Ira like convert some weird hands. Like even like Elias can
good
like a
Usurp.
Guardian can play it with a lot of these like weird like one costed attacks. Like there's a lot of just like little seeds you can kind of plant that other classes can use later.
I agree. I think
Generics are
are
great.
interesting.
Yeah,
Ira's
I don't have any
terrible.
problem with generics. That's not what that post on Bluesky was about. It was just that was just a thing where I knew that people would respond to it, and that I'd get like 50 likes, which is what happened. That's more just like fatigue on. I think having 90 reacts in the game is a little bit too much, pal.
I think that's the only generic I really have a problem with, or like the set of the 90 reacts and fillers.
I do feel like I'm a little. Yeah, I feel like it's very like flirting versus harassment with like the first picture is like Rabble Scar Snatch, and then the second picture is like Sink Face Shelter. I think like for sure, but I don't know. I don't really mind the 0 for 4D reacts. I feel like it's more about like the ability of decks to just like
deal with them.
An issue for putting too many D reacts in your deck.
I think the impetus for that was I was editing a video we were playing. You paired it into Decimator Bolton, and we looked at the deck list, and it was like
it was every D react.
It's every D react, Oasis, Fiddlers, and I was just like, I cut the game from the video, and I was like, no one wants to see this. This is like almost an hour long. They were like 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
They wanted it more.
Well, yeah, I heard Aurora go like, "Oh, we would have had this," but of course, they had the 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I'm like, that game's getting cut. Like, I fucking put that in the video. Like, the video doesn't need to be 3 hours long. And like, I don't know, just seeing stuff like that.
Game, though.
It's just like, man, I don't want to do this. I compared it to CYB specifically because CYB. We do have Tier Fridays, right? Where we play like some weird jank, right? And for a long time when CYB was legal, the Band-Aid slap that we would do is like, oh, well, we'll play Olympia, who's bad right now, and then we'll slap CYB on him, and that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then like, it turns out adding 56 life to a hero is pretty good. But I think the deck is more interesting if like they do something a bit more interesting, and generics should be used in like a way to like kind of like complement that, as opposed to like, okay, cool, let's just like copy and paste this in here. Which is why I'm excited, especially for Olympia, getting an armory deck, a bunch of new cards in Warrior, including All In, which you're excited about.
That card's so cool.
That card's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't no way it's about to be good. Or it could be great. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a stream on Friday probably where I try to make All In like as high as that sucker will go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go big or go home.
I kind of feel like where I've landed on All In is this card is really sweet, but like I kind of suspect I will put like 1 or 2 in my deck and then get it with odds on favorite to close games.
It's not a spec, is it?
It is not.
Okay, that's interesting.
They should have made it generic so Marlon could play it.
Oh, so true.
Oh, so
can you
Gravy
imagine
could play it.
Gravy
Can you
all
imagine?
ending you like rigor mortis for 27, 26?
Oh, that'd be so sick.
That'd be gross.
That would rule. Yeah, they should have made it
Sure.
generic. That would have been good.
But yeah, Olympia's
That'd
looking
been
pretty
good.
sweet. Kasai's probably like LLing before she really gets to play.
Yeah,
get a
I
new
think
card.
if we could have just not had Mastery Pack Warrior, and I would have been surprised if she made it to the end of the year.
I agree.
Dory's probably L. I mean, probably L.
No.
No, she's really not very high in the points list.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
how many
no,
points
she's
does she
like
have?
high up there, but I just don't
How
think
many?
that like. Okay. Dorinthia does a strong thing in the abstract. Dorinthia really suffers if your opponent knows what to play around and how to play around it.
That's
and I
true.
feel like when you just take it to the level of like everyone is playing Dory at like their PQs or whatever, the amount of time she's going to win like decreases a fair bit because you're playing
That's
against like the
fair.
strongest people in the room if you're trying to win. And then there's also the issue of like I think she's kind of a specialist stack. Like
True.
Dory is never going to be that popular choice. I think Dory legitimately might have like a year or 2 left in standard.
She is the
That's
best
crazy.
new player killer in the entire game.
Yeah, she's really good at killing
Absolutely.
opponents.
Yeah, but that doesn't win PQs.
That's true. It was my first armory match was against Dory, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks. like, I
like she
don't know
might
what
be
any of
like-
the cards are.
She might be out of the meta enough for a lot of people. Like we have a lot of new players locally that like Dory is going to house these kids. Like they're sure going to show up and they're going to have no idea like how to play around these cards.
How
And
are
they're
you
gonna
going to
roll.
beat them? They'll have 3 thwart in their sideboard.
That's actually a good point. That card is messed up.
That card
card's
just says
good.
like Dory can never be the best thing to be doing, which is fine. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
Who else does this benefit? Hala, I guess.
Yeah.
All for sure.
Hala for
She's
sure.
for fun.
Yeah.
Notably,
Try her out.
Fang didn't get a ton other than like the Warrior Remembrance and maybe a couple things.
Fine though, right?
I
like
think
pretty
that's
good.
enough for Fang. Like
Yeah.
it's one of the like Fang's weaknesses was getting fatigued and like being able to get back Long Whisker Loyalty, Hunt's End, and Respect
You
with
can
the
also
Fire and Brimstone.
play Lessons Learned as a Draconic Attack React. Like you can
Yeah.
fealty it.
Pretty cool.
Something I really like about that card is that it's Fair Remembrance and it's named Lessons Learned. I find that really humorous.
Mhm.
I think that Fang, I don't know, like I think he's been fine. In fact, he's like, it's not. I don't think that deck's really necessarily terrible. I think Brody was even playing him for a while. Like, I think he's like a solid deck. It's just you know, like other decks are probably better than him right this second, but that's fine.
I think
He'll
that's
be
true.
okay.
It's generally been a meta call. Like
It's like a
because he takes some time to set up, even if your deck is built to like I'm online by turn 2 or whatever. Like those 2 turns are relevant depending on what you're playing into. So Fang was always like, oh, Slippy's really good. Well, I'm going to bring Fang because Fang can have value. New's really good, so I'm going to bring Fang. It's never like you're never bringing Fang instead of Syndra because you need to go fast.
Yeah.
Like, if Fang doesn't get tools, there will be another Fang meta at some point.
Have we
He's the
talked about
king of the
Olympia much
Warriors.
yet? I want to talk
No,
about
but-
Olympia.
Before
let's
we
talk
talk about
about-
Olympia, I want to talk
Okay.
about one card that needs to go.
Okay,
What?
sure.
We gotta axe the axe.
Yes.
Oh,
I am tired of seeing Decimator Fang. I think it's the dumbest deck. It's like, all right, cool. This is like so neat that I just didn't scout you out, and now
Well, let's,
I'm stuck here for 55
let's-
minutes.
We'll come
Rob,
back to that.
let's actually circle back because that's a great
All right,
segue to
Elly,
the
talk
next
about
section.
Olympia is so cool, dude. I feel like something I really like about Olympia is that I think there's like not that much design space left if you were to ask me in like Sword Warrior, but I think they actually found something new and unique, which is like you've got your Sword Warriors that are dual wielders, you've got your Sword Warriors that like swing twice in some way, shape, or form. Olympia just hits you once really, really, really hard. And I think it's like
Yeah.
super cool. I like that they've kind of made this like a go tall warrior and he just like stacks up 1,000,000 on hits. I think like
Ranger kind of.
It's cool.
I think they looked at a hero with like a ton of problems and solved them all like quite elegantly. Like I think if you look at the wager spells, they have 2 like fundamental issues, right? You look at like Hold'em and Edge Ahead, right?
Mhm.
The first is that the rate is just god awful. 1 for 3 with potential downside is so bad. And then the issue was also the potential downside, right? Like if your opponent just blocked out and you couldn't force it over, they just got like free resources or free action points, and that was a huge problem. And I feel like they were just like, okay, like here's cards that wager tokens your opponent isn't going to be able to use. Like you wager a flurry, you wager a blade dance, like that sort of thing. They also give disruptive wager cards, but we can get into that later. And then they also made Golden Grail, which gets +1, which makes the wager spells functionally 1 for 4s. It's so good. I adore it. I'm literally just like, it's so sick. It feels like one of their, like maybe their most inspired warrior design. I love
It's
what
really
they've done with that
cool.
hero.
Especially because they outright admitted, like, yeah, Olympia and Betsy were supposed to just be 4 heavy limited.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll make these into adults in case people want to play them, but we're not going to really support them super hard. And then
People like them.
people really like
Yeah.
them, and it really sucked
Yeah.
to be those people just playing their deck that is like, we're not supporting this isn't supposed to be good. And I think the lesson that they learned of like, hey, if a hero's being printed into CC,
Support.
it needs to be a hero that is real. Like
Yeah.
you can't just
Yeah.
you can't just say like, it's for fun, like because someone will want to bring it to a PQ or a calling or something. And I think it's really cool that they're doing right by Olympia and Betsy. Like Betsy was in top 8 at the Pro Tour. There were 2 Betsy's,
Awesome.
right?
Cool.
That's ridiculous. That's
That's
unheard
crazy. The
of.
log is really, I remember like seeing Drink come under the table in Rosetta spoiler season, and it was like, Like I don't know if Betsy is like anywhere near being good right now, but one day this card's gonna send people straight to hell. Like,
Yo.
She used to be like just a meme in the Portland Flesh and Blood Discord. It's just like, oh yeah, like people just suggest Betsy for like, what should I play? And it's just like,
Betsy.
yeah, we're suggesting it because this is a terrible idea. And now it's like, well, I don't think you can say that anymore. And I think with
I've been playing
Master
Betsy
Pack
for the
Warrior-
last like 3 weeks at Armory.
yeah, I think with
know?
MPW, Olympia is going to be like a real thing that you, one, have to prepare for, and two, like, are going to be able to do while playing, which is great. Like I think if the heroes in CC, you should be able, like, they shouldn't always have to be the best, but you should have the expectation that like the hero functions.
Yeah.
I think
That should be that should be the bar to clear.
Yeah. I think that's also some amount of the takeaway of like expansion slot centric design that they talked about this, right? Like I am very much like I don't want to keep harping on things once OSS has like acknowledged or said like if they like messed up in some way and they're like we messed up, like that's where I like stop. But I think it's really good that like it's a very similar issue, right? Where they were just like, here are these heroes that come out and like they suck, but maybe in 2 years they'll have gotten 4 cards.
Yeah.
And I like
It's
that they
better if they
acknowledged
don't
that
do
that was
that.
not a satisfying way to design decks.
Something that I found kind of interesting is if you look at like how this year's been structured, was we're going to lose more heroes than we gained in CC.
Yes.
So like they're
That's
giving us like,
good.
oh, okay, we're trimming the fat here. We're giving you like less heroes you have to play against, but we're bringing up the heroes that people have had and have kind of loved, but like haven't had their chance yet. So like,
Yep.
10 has been
This is a
awesome. This has
positive
been cool.
change.
So I'm pretty
And
happy.
all of
Interesting.
this will be really cool until Shadow Runeblade comes and
Oh, yeah.
ruins
And then we're
Flesh
man,
no
I
one's
can't-
going to
I can't
touch
wait.
any of these heroes because
ruins Flesh and
Viscera
Blood
is so cool.
forever because
I
of
can't wait to
Interesting.
ruin
Runeblade.
Blood.
how Betsy and Olympia were both like fixed, where Olympia has just kind of acquired like the expansion slot design. Olympia has just acquired like a ton of cards. He got a full set of armor, which was a meme at the time. He got
think
Visit the
it's still
Golden
that.
Anvil, which is probably going to worm its way into a top 8 deck, but like whatever. And then he gets a set, and now the set is like, here are all these alternate costs that you can use your armor, and Olympia like does this really unique thing that may or may not be good, but like it's a unique thing that Olympia specifically does, and that's cool. And then they look at Betsy, and they're like, what if you played 79 cards that are already legal and have already existed, but then a log, and that's what you get. And then the Betsy players were like,
I love this.
so what you're telling me is
They simply wanted it more, John. Like they manifested that log into existence, and boy howdy.
Yeah.
it's really good. I'm not looking at the deck like, wow, this is trash, or this is a meme, or if this had been scouted, it would have been way down. It's like, no, this is just like
Good.
really good.
It's good Flesh and Blood.
This just does like like Tegan said earlier, Flesh and Blood is a game of numbers, and Betsy does a 2-card 7
Every turn.
Every turn.
Yep.
return for the entire game.
Sometimes you 1-card 6 them, and that feels real good too.
Oh,
Off the
yeah.
gold or whatever. I thought it was like, again, just another really elegant like piece of design that you just get to keep stacking up gold, and eventually you just go like, all right, visit the gold main estate at Ohm.
Can I be the negative one for once?
Go.
You can whine.
I kind of
once.
hate the log as a card. I feel like he has a lot of really cool cards like that big drink him under the table, and these top 8 decks aren't playing him. Like just because the log is just so much more efficient, you just play blue 3 blocks that can convert in situations. You play CNC, you play Double Down, and you just play the generic suite of blocks. It feels like a commander card where it's this 1-card engine that everything Betsy needs to do is in the log. So it's just like everything else supports the log, and that's it. Like it feels a little too consistent and just too kind of just boring of like, okay, it's log,
I love
log,
the
it's log.
I
just, like-
love the log.
I always feel like if you don't play your hero specs, we kind of missed on the design somewhere.
Well, what
Well,
if the
this right
specs
players
are
don't
bad?
There's
Like,
spots.
the
Drink
problem
him under the
with
table. You said it's
Betsy-
an unethical card like
Yeah.
a second ago.
The problem with Betsy's specializations is that in a lot of matchups, like you just donate them a free card. Like Bet Big, they just get a free card. Drink them under the table, they get 2 free cards.
Well, hold on,
Yeah.
Rob. Here's a
Yeah.
question for you. This is gonna be so clumsy. You ready for this? What other weapon do you think sucks and should be banned?
Wow.
The Decimator Great Axe. My favorite card from Dust to Dawn.
We got back there.
We got it. I did
It
it.
was Dusky Dawn.
It was
I'm the
Dust to Dawn.
master.
Dumbass weapon.
It's awful.
The way you hate that weapon.
I just think it's incredibly boring. And it's like, I feel like it's not like when you play like Decimator Great Axe, I feel like you don't win on skill. You just go, oh, you sideboarded wrong. That sucks.
I don't think that's true. I think there's plenty of skill involved in like fatigue matchups. I think like
I'm not saying there's not skill involved, but I'm saying there's skill involved. Like it's you go like you're smoke screening. You're saying I'm playing Fang, and you're like, oh, actually, I'm on Decimator. Like if I go in and I know you're on like Decimator Great Axe, I have no problem playing the fatigue game. But if I'm going in playing a tight 60, expecting Fang, and you're on some bullshit, I'm like, all right, this is stupid. I have the same issue when I play against Cecilio, and I'm like, all right, I can play D-Reacts, or I can just lose the game, depending on how what you show up with.
I think Acilio is a little bit more offensive because like Acilio is one of, if not the singular best deck, and you just have to worry about like
Multiple
two
variants.
variations that both make each other stronger simply by existing. I think
I
like
hate that deck.
my thoughts on it are I don't love the smoke screening stuff. But I also think that like scouting is just something that's always going to be a part of like major tournaments because you will always get some kind of an edge about it. And like I think if you're playing against somebody who's like trying to win their games off of making you coin flip the matchup and you get to like know and sideboard, like whatever. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Elle,
I feel
you
like
mentioned scouting.
Sure.
So
Which is gonna be our next topic.
Which is our next topic. We did it. Thank you for helping us transition.
So there's been, we're not going to get too deep into this, but there's been a little bit of drama about scouting, I guess, in the FAB community and like whether or not that is like a thing that should be allowed to persist or whether or not there should be basically like open deck lists. There are a lot of arguments, I guess, for and against the open deck lists. A lot of like technical limitations also like with open deck lists. What do people think, I guess?
I love the idea of open deck lists. Do I think like scouting should be allowed at this point?
Yes.
You kind of
Yes.
need to allow it.
Yeah.
Like,
You can't disallow it, really.
I'm not going to put blinders on everyone in the room so that they can't. The Fi who finished his game in 10 minutes can't come over and watch my Jarl game that's going for 45.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. Scouting should happen. Where I think you run into an issue is people like you roll into your pro quest, you're by yourself, you're in a new city, or you're a new player, you don't know anyone in the room.
Mhm.
You are going to be so much worse at scouting than the person who rolled in with 5 friends,
Yeah.
who now gets that collective information. Especially if you're playing a deck that like goes to time, you're just not going to know things, or the
Yeah.
team that rolled in is going to do a better job scouting than you will. Like, it will disadvantage certain players for really no fault of their own. And so at
Have
that point, like,
friends.
I think you need to have an open deck list, like level the playing field. At this point, it's like a quality of life change. Just say we're leveling the playing field. Everyone has the same access to the same information with the same level of ease that everyone else does.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I think that, like, on one hand, like, so, like, okay, Aurora and I we were in Vegas, right? And what we could have done is Aurora could have said, like, okay, just go around and write down the deck list of everyone you've seen, Tegan. And if she said that, I would have been like,
Ain't no way I'm doing that.
I ain't doing that. Catch me at the casino. Find a different friend to do it. I have other things I want to
But like
do.
I also heard a lot like I was talking about like the Marlin crew and like we were talking about just like various things like, oh, there's like a Bolden who's on Decimated or blah blah, like I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you hear a lot of it just like secondhand, even if you're not like actively like trying to do it.
Like, if you are good enough at the game where you're going to pro tours and you have people that you're practicing with, not even like dedicated teams, right? Like Aurora's not on a dedicated team like Team Metal Fab or anything, right? But you're hearing from people who know you personally,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like this person's playing this, and that's even at PQs in like a pretty casual setting, there is still crosstalk of like, oh, so and so is playing this deck, right? Even if it's just not like scouting, and it's just like, oh, did you see that what's his ass is playing like,
Yeah.
did you see this person's playing all in
Yeah,
their
did you- it's
Dorinthia
like,
deck?
did you
Like,
see that
that's
they're-
crazy.
That's
it's
crazy.
like, did you know they're playing attack action Scano? Isn't that weird? And it's like,
Yeah.
thank you for telling me this. Now I just don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So like, no matter, so like if there are people who are like, I hate it in all forms whatsoever, then like what you kind of are hoping for is a tournament where no one talks to each other, everyone's looking straight ahead. Because it's people are going to find out, right? Like I found out I think there's like at the PQ I won, I found out that one of my opponents was like on like no AB like 2 rounds before I played him, and that's like that was an odd result of like, hey, go figure out whether or
Yeah.
not
What the
this
sideboard is.
like what this guy's sideboard is. It's just like a thing of like, oh yeah, like I was walking around and I saw a Kano game and I stopped to watch and I was like, oh okay, cool, like that's what your board is, right?
I think that like one of the greatest tragedies of competitive TCGs, hi Philip, is that like you've created this hobby that like exclusively attracts antisocial nerds, and then you have to tell them like put them all in a room and you
Yeah.
tell them like get along with each other. Like you must play this against like an opponent who is also a person, and you must treat them
I
with
will say
dignity.
this
And
about Fab.
everyone's like, we're poorly socialized.
I feel like Fab has like
Clever.
people who've got a lot like more social
I think that's true.
so not capital like so like I used to play Magic, and I've
Conditioning?
definitely encountered people playing Magic where I'm like, oh, this is like your first time meeting people. Whereas
Yeah.
Fab, it's just like it feels like there's a lot of people who are pretty normal.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like,
Player base skews
but-
older.
but I think that the easiest solution to like, okay, well, I hate scouting, is just
Give everyone the information.
give all deck lists, have all deck lists be open, and then just say like, here's like, because you already, as I found out recently, you already have like a set, like this is the amount of pre-game time that you have.
Yeah.
Just include it in that and start enforcing that a bit more. Because I've definitely like started late.
Yeah.
Because people are trying to get their like enormous like quad sleeved deck box like all moved and everything, and like I'm also guilty of this, right? It's like, okay, my deck like needs to be shuffled, it was completely sorted, but like just if you want to include open deck lists, just have it be in there, and then just give your opponent a chance to look. And then if you have like a weird switchboard thing, then you still get to have the game, like the mind game mix up of like, okay, well, this person could board this way or this way, which one? And you don't have to tell your opponent, and you could just board in a way that kind of like mixes them up. So like you still have that like kind of gotcha, but not to the extent of like
DGA.
I'm playing Bolton. And nothing, and there's nothing weird about that. And you see like a DGA pin and an I love 50-minute games like shirt that they have on. So like I think that to me like the con obviously would be like just it's like a logistics reason. There's a lot of it would take more time, but I think in that case you just very like strictly enforce like pre-game procedures are done, start playing. Call a judge if your opponent's still like wait. Like I don't know. People can I know that like there's some people who definitely could use a little help getting through things faster, but for most people I think there's no excuse that you can't do everything in like 5 to 7 minutes. Like just you don't have to like study their deck list, just skim.
Well, Fab is also a game that rewards metagame knowledge. Like a lot of the time, you will sit down against your opponent, they show you a Cilio, and you now have an idea of what a Cilio does. Like you know what a Cilio deck list look like. You know what the winning Cilio players are doing. So if you're checking their deck list, you're not necessarily checking for like, ooh, they've got their one of seduce secrets that I need to be aware of because that's going to be the like.
Yeah.
You can check for like weird tech, but a lot of the time you're just like, okay, does this one have Entwine Lightning or does this one have Turn to Mind Fire? Great. I have the information that I need to proceed with this game.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just all just like play Go Fish. You get 3 questions at the start of each game and you just go like, does your deck contain any Burn Bears? No, Go Fish. Does your deck contain All In? No. Like, I don't know. I feel
Just
like
me as
half
in a
the
Kano costume, going like, you have to tell the it's the
yeah.
law that you have to tell me if you're playing Oasis and
You're-
Yeah.
You have to tell
holding a
tell
gun.
me if the Oasis respite shows up 15 minutes after the bell rings, I get to play Wildfire anyways.
Well, I got that actually reminds me. So
Oh, wait. The Go Fish actually kind of infringes on Marlin Design Space.
oh, it's true.
Sure, my bad,
I
my
guess
bad, my bad.
I guess we can't have open. But actually, the Kano thing reminds me. I remember one of the first RTNs I ever went to. I played Kano in round 1. It paired into Bolton, and I was super used to that matchup. I really liked that matchup. And this fucking guy flips over AB3 with 3 Oasis in Bolton, and then the rest of the deck was a standard Bolton deck. And it's just like, what is this? And I lost because I didn't expect Bolton to be running like 3 Nolra and 3 Oasis, because that's not what it does. And then I was just, and next round I played the guy's brother. He's like, oh yeah, he just really hates Kano. I'm like, well, fuck me, I guess. And I was so mad. And I'm still mad at that guy.
Do you think it's not like a player's right to get an edge in matchups by this is like kind of my issue with like the scouting thing is I think it's like the right of a player to get an edge in matchups they don't want to lose or they want to like have a better matchup into by bringing tech that the opponent may or may not expect. Like, I don't know. I feel like the whole like open deck list thing just like ruins a lot of novel tech.
I think that's reasonable. That is like a big downside is that like not knowing, like for instance, like maybe like the Marlin Gravy matchup, right? There's 2 different ways the Marlin can approach it. You can approach it like just going full face, go aggro, kill the Gravy, and then you can also approach it with like an endless sideboard. If you have the endless sideboard, you try to go for like fatigue or whatever.
Yep.
If the Gravy knows what your sideboard is, then they can then infer like what you're trying to do, and then you lose the surprise edge. So like
my counter argument to that is that you then have the option to not do the endless board.
That's true.
And so it's like, oh shit, I see endless. I better put all this fatigue stuff and like take out my D-reacts, and then you're like, I knew it, and then you're essentially just playing like you're doing the same thing, except there's not like at least your opponent, at least you're being honest about like the choice that you're presenting. Like so in that case, like with the Bolton player, they could have chosen to not do
about
that.
being honest.
Not necessarily.
Like we play a game of hidden information. I don't think that like you have an obligation to engage in like clear and consistent communication with your opponent, but I don't think you have an obligation to be honest with them about information that has not yet been revealed to them.
Is the problem really the information, or is the problem like the cards that like capitalize too much on the hidden information?
I just feel like it's like I actually like ultimately like my belief at the core of the take about like the scouting thing is that like I think there would not be a moral panic about scouting if there wasn't a certain individual's name attached to it. I think that like people would be a lot less angry if they said like, you know, like Michael Hamilton has this scouting Discord, and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense that strong players would be gathering information, but because it's one person who did something bad and learned a lesson from it, and you know, whatever, like people have strong feelings about it. I think that may be like a little bit too.
I don't think it's a bad
oriented.
thing to have done.
Well, again, like I think that's like its own thing, but I think like I think the fundamental issue of like the scouting argument is that people are moralizing based on like an individual rather than like the act itself. Is kind of
here's a question for you then, I guess. So, during I think it was a PQ season, I told a bunch of people that I wasn't going to show up because I was busy. And I was playing Kano, and people were directly asking me to my face, "Hey, are you bringing Kano? I need to know for my boarding information." And I was just like, "No." I'm like, actually, I'm definitely not going to be there. I'm going to be out of town. And I made up like a whole fictional story of what we're doing. And I just roll in on Kano. And they're like, I can't believe it. I'm like fuck you.
People are asking me.
People asked you. It's like, well, Aurora would tell us the truth. I'm like, Aurora's not going to tell you the truth because I love Aurora and she doesn't have nearly as much attachment to you. So yeah, and then I just roll up on Kano, and it's just like, cool. I hope if you didn't bring your AB because you didn't think I was going to be here, then you deserve to get punished for it, right?
I think that there is like a context issue. I think it like depends a lot on like the context of how this happens. I think if your opponent, like if people you're going to play at a PQ are asking you like, are you playing this hero? I need to know so that I can bring 7 hate cards for you. I don't think you have an obligation to tell them that. I think like
Mhm.
there's an example in Flesh and Blood's history of somebody having used their platform to tell people that they thought Kano was bad, when they did not believe that Kano was bad, and then showed up on Kano and won the tournament. Um,
I've
and
done
I
that.
think that like I think that that is different and starts to get into like a moral gray area. But I think like fundamentally, like I don't know. I don't think you have an obligation to tell people like, yes, these are the cards you should bring against me at a PQ. I think like everybody is there to win, and if you expect your opponent to be giving up any like edges just for like I don't know, honor or whatever, like I just don't think it's like reasonable. I think people will operate within the rules and boundaries of the game, and there's no social contract outside of that except to be good individuals to one another.
That's why you never listen to a fucking pro team's tier list.
Never.
Yeah, it's all psyops and misinformation.
It's all psyops.
You did
As soon
you
as they
did-
start telling you a hero's bad, you're like, all right, I'm packing the cyborg cards just in case.
Just in case,
You
yeah.
made a video about your RTN deck list, or PQ deck list, and it was like a Zen list, and it was a complete farce, and none of the cards were.
Oh yeah, I did do that.
Yeah, you use your so like it's ultimately like
I think it was CYB Zen. I said
Yo,
I was gonna bring
CYB Zen.
I was gonna bring CYB Zen to a pro quest, and then I did not bring CYB Zen to a pro quest.
because why would you
I
do
also
that?
just think there's like, is there a meaningful mechanical difference, like socially, in like, I am not going to PQ, my dog is very sick, and then 2 days before the PQ, like you hear like, oh, like he's doing a lot better. We probably don't need you to drive to Wisconsin this weekend. Like, okay, like I'm actually gonna play this PQ. Like, I don't know, like I don't think there's a difference there between like that and saying I am not going to tell. I think like saying I definitively won't be there is like maybe a little bit suspect, just being
I
honest.
said I definitively will not be there.
I think that's a little bit suspect.
And Tegan
Just a
does
little
not
bit.
feel bad.
I think
I
that's
don't
a
care.
little bit suspect if you always intended to be there, but I think like fundamentally, like the answer of like I don't have to tell you is like fine. Like I think that's just fine.
I think a lot of players don't realize that Flesh and Blood doesn't start when the round timer starts. It starts well beforehand. Like that's when the game really starts. It's weeks and months beforehand, where I lie to my locals, and so I can do better than PQ. They're playing. They're playing it casually. I'm a competitor. I'm doing really mean things, like spreading pathogens to make people
Love that
sick
Tegan
right before
entered this
PQs.
conversation with like, Elly, I would love to hear your take, but I also don't care. I also
Yeah, I can
this is
no
not
longer.
a moral gray area. I am morally in the wrong.
I am evil. I
Cyclosporia,
am...
that was me because I want to win tournaments, and I knew that my opponents couldn't resist a salad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like act reasonably to one another, be kind to one another, and like be a good sport. And
Yeah.
like I think things
I mean,
should follow
sure.
from there.
Like,
But I also think that being a good sport is not expecting your opponent to like Craigslist lowball themselves. Like
I think it ultimately is like the thing of like we could get ridiculous with this if we really wanted
Yeah.
to. Like the only reason I bring up the whole thing of like, oh yeah, like it's like because you could literally have that mentality, like the Ace Rothstein from Casino mentality, where you're like figuring out what the wood on the basketball court is made of so you can bet better, right? Like you could do that. You get diminishing returns, obviously, because ultimately, like, if you're not good at the game, none of that shit's gonna help.
Yeah.
Like you could have the Millennium Eye, and like if you're not good at the game, like you're still probably not gonna beat Brody, right?
I think that's true.
So
I mean,
like maybe if you had the Millennium Puzzle and got Yugi to cheat for you, but that's about it. So like
I think strong players are strong because they don't give up any edges in the
That's
game
true.
and like in the social aspect of the game.
I think there is
So,
Elly,
I
to your
guess-
point of like open deck lists still the ability to implement like specific hate tech while still doing a very standard thing. Like, I mean, I was part of the scouting Discord. It was great. I got a ton of good information, but I was not good enough at Jarl to implement it. So like I sat down against a Bolton. I knew it was DGA. I still lost because I didn't have experience in that specific matchup.
Yeah.
But how much edge? Like, say I'm playing again Jarl. I have Fiddler's Green in the deck. I sit down against an Acilio. I know that they have Poison the Well in the list. How many points do I either gain or lose by either not playing the Fiddler's Greens like I'm used to, or try to outplay the Acilio now? Like, am I gaming myself
Yeah.
by
I
putting
think
them on Poison the Well when they don't necessarily have it, and now I'm like misplaying based on information that I'm not using properly? And how often does that come up at the highest level of play?
I think that like 99% of the benefit of having an open deck list is knowing the wheel of options that your opponent's hand contains. And I think that like if you too aggressively adjust your game plan or how you sideboard or like your presentation in the game, like you can just create a situation where you are now on uncomfortable ground and not playing with the cards you know and
Mhm.
like want to use to win the game. And like, yeah, maybe they don't present the Poison the Wells and you've just taken what 12 life out of your deck for no reason in a matchup where you're trying to win via fatigue. It's just like, I don't know. I think that like these are already the things that people are thinking about prior to games of Flesh and Blood. And I also think that maybe above all else I have to say on this topic, hedgeboarding is interesting. Like, I think it's interesting to figure out the deck you can present that has the most game into both possible options. And I think that that is like a necessary part of like Flesh and Blood's design.
I mean, I think it's just like it's one of those things where if you're really good at the game, like just having it's why like they do it for top 8, right? You get to see like the deck lists of everyone else in top 8. Like I think that the better you are at the game, the better this will be. Like this is not going to all of a sudden make people who like are not very good at the game all of a sudden really good at the game. And like John said, I think that you're far more likely going to have people completely bored and really weird and there's like a word that I'm trying to think of, but I can't like put my
Optimally.
Suboptimal, sure, yeah, like a really weird and suboptimal way because they're afraid of something. And I think that's far more likely to happen than someone like going like, aha, I know exactly what to do. And it's not like the argument is also give them your sideboarding notes. Like that would be too far.
Sure.
And like, so, okay, people are going to think I'm weird for this. When I play Gravy, I don't have any sideboard notes or any like matchup notes or anything.
That's normal. I don't do this either.
I don't ever really board the same way for each hero. I just kind of like
vibes based sideboarding.
I vibe space based on the person a lot of the time. It's like, oh, I know you. Like I know what you're like, and then like board accordingly. And I've done pretty well with it. And I don't know, like I think that if I had like perfect knowledge of like this is what my opponent's deck list was, I'd still probably do that. So
I just think the next time somebody asks, like, I think the next time somebody says, like, oh, scouting ruined my Pro Tour, you should just ask them, like, how their draft went.
True.
That's true.
Well,
If you 3-0'd, maybe we can talk.
Yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
If
feel
you
like
want
that-
to, like, maybe it wasn't the scouting.
I feel like this year more than any has had the like rise of I am the day 2 this hero,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
follow-up question is how'd your draft go?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
this Aurora did so well in the event. They 6-0'd their drafts. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
It's really funny you bring that up because one of my teammates was the Puffin featured for the US Nats article.
I
And
do
when Puffin,
remember
baby.
this.
Yeah, who went 6-0 in draft. And it was just like,
Yeah.
interesting. I
Wasn't his
remember
total record like 9-5? So his CC was like 3. His CC was 3-5.
Nope.
I
And they're
think,
like, this is the Puffin deck,
Puffin
baby.
sucks!
She's
Hey,
real, guys.
hey, in the Nats article, I was at least the 7-2 Marlin, so
That's true.
I felt a little bit better.
Yeah,
Well,
you
it's
did
like
actually
the
really
US
good.
Nationals had the day 2 Aurora came in 30th place, and this was before the Serenade unban. And it's like, is Aurora real? No, he 6-0'd his drafts.
Yeah.
The Aurora deck was not good.
Yeah.
He was
Maybe
cool. I
that's-
played against him. He was a great guy,
Okay.
but it was not like he did not crack the code.
Makes sense.
Well,
On that note, I guess we're going to kind of wrap up the podcast at this point, but we do have a couple last questions. So,
positivity.
yeah, I kind of feel like maybe the last like episode of our podcast was like maybe a little bit on a negative side. I feel like there's been like a lot of negativity kind of circulating within the Fab community. So I wanted to put a question to you all, just like, what do you like the most about Flesh and Blood right now? Like, I wanted to try to like bring up a little bit of positivity about the game because I think the game's still a lot of fun.
Cool. Are you looking at me?
You can go first.
Cool. I guess I'll start. I'm really looking forward to Usurp. I'm super excited to see that they're bringing back Viscerai, who's a hero that like is cool. I was super excited for that. And as I mentioned earlier, I really like playing LL. Like I think that there are formats that aren't as prevalent right now, but they're still very fun. And LL is one of those formats, and it kind of just goes to show that Fab's like a great game, and you can play it in a bunch of different ways. And yeah, it's made me really excited about like getting back into CC and like actually practicing and stuff again.
All right, Rob, what do you like about the game right now?
I think the game's fun. I've been on a little bit of a break. I think a couple months ago where I was just like around Nats, I wasn't really feeling the game. I was a little frustrated, and I was like looking at other card games, and I was like, let me try Rift Bound. Let me just like, everyone says it's so great. And I was like, this game is not fun. I know there's like so much money attached to it, and you know, like, oh, you could have these crazy weekends where you make thousands of dollars. And I was like, I'm miserable. This game sucks. I go back to Fab, and I'm having so much fun. And I was like, wow, this is like, the cards are beautiful. I'm having a great time with the community, and like my friends are here. Like the game is just awesome, and like it's well designed, and like even when it's bad, it's better than any other card game I've played.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's bad right now necessarily.
No, I don't think it's bad at all either.
Yeah.
But when it's bad, I think it's better than other card
Yeah.
games. So
There have been some rough periods for sure.
everything has them.
Zenjamin.
Well, that was a great period for me.
MST was the best the game's ever been.
All right, John, what have you been having fun with lately?
I mean, the game generally, I think, is in a really great spot. I think we were talking about expansion slots. I think LSS has really hit their stride as far as supporting every hero. And like some of the heroes are maybe not there yet, but like Levi's about to get some help. Vincent too. Like there are very few heroes that I think cannot compete right now.
Bravo.
Bravo,
Crippling Crush
Riptide.
2.
There are a few heroes that like definitely need some support, but for the most part, I think this is probably the most playable that the general hero pool has been ever that I've seen. Like, how many unique heroes did we have at the Pro Tour? We had 2 Betsies come out of nowhere. We're about to have every warrior really be competitive in its own special way.
Yeah.
I think that as far as like, I know at the higher level, some pros don't love just how open the field is, but for the most part, I think an open field of heroes is a really good thing for the game overall.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things that we saw was like the calling for Vegas. No hero was more than 10% of the format.
Yep.
Like that's insane.
Pretty cool.
I have a
That's really good.
preference for metas like MST where there's like a clear this is the deck to beat, and then there's like a few decks
Sure.
that can hang. But that preference isn't as overwhelming as I am happy that people are finally being able to play decks that have been pet decks for years in a real like competitive manner. Like I think that's very good. And at some point there will be a meta where there is a clear defined best deck, and like I'll be super excited for that. But hey, you know, it doesn't have to be the same way every time.
Don't worry, that'll be when Usurp the Shadow Throne comes out.
Viscerai.
Hell yeah,
Viscerai,
Viscerai
baby.
number
It's
one.
alright, baby. I'm really stoked for Usurp. Like, obviously, I think like honestly, my favorite thing about Fab lately has been like the people making it. I think like I am just like, I don't know. I feel like I had this moment with Flesh and Blood where like, just to be entirely honest, like I was pretty down on the game. It was around the time we recorded the last my Jart Lies Over the Sea or whatever. I was like pretty bummed. I was like, I waited a really long time for the set. The hero's disappointing. They banned a bunch of cards I thought were exciting, and I found myself very like uplifted and refreshed by them being like, you know what, like we were too harsh. Like we're gonna unban this card. We acknowledge that this was kind of a miss, and I feel like pretty consistently that's been like one of my favorite things about LSS is that they're just willing to be like, this was a miss. Like we're gonna correct. Like we'll fix this, and that made me happy. I'm also just really stoked for a lot of my favorite classes to be getting support. I'm excited to be playing Runeblade again. I really, really miss feeling like Runeblade is just like in the game and something I
Yeah.
can play.
Very reasonable.
I like rune
I like
chants.
runes.
Runes.
I also like Rune Chants.
Well, We have some viewer questions
Yeah, you want to pull this up?
from the Flesh and Bad Discord, and not all of them are very good.
But we will read some of them.
All right, I'll put all you on blast.
Can't say that.
I can say it. I'm the admin. Immediately, the subject kind of like people started just kind of shit posting. Please stop shit
Sure.
posting.
Who would
It's
do
my-
That sounds like the community.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
think
fine,
anyone on
it's
this
fine.
podcast would shit post.
Never.
We do
Not
like
me.
the community, but we do have some like actually pretty solid ones.
All right, first one.
Which is worse, Fate Foreseen or Sink Below? Open interpretation on what worse means.
I think it's pretty solidly Fate Foreseen, like on multiple axes. I think Fate Foreseen is a less powerful effect than Sink Below. I also think that just in general, for like allowing decks to do powerful things, hand fixing is much better than opting. And so, like, Sink Below is a stronger card and also a better card for the game.
It's so funny that this is like such a good question that the first answer I was immediately felt contentious about. But I was
Saw
just
your
like,
face.
I think that's like a really interesting like takeaway because something I've been talking to Yuki about a lot lately is like I think this is the first time in Fab's history where the amount of Fate Foreseens we're seeing registered in decks is actually outstripping the amount of Sink Belows we're seeing register in decks, and I think a huge part of it has to do with how much they've been pushing Ponders as a mechanic. I think like
Yeah.
Ponders have been showing up in a lot more decks. A lot more decks draw a single random card really often, or decks are clashing or doing similar things. And I think being able to flip the top card of your deck and like check it and change it, I think at this exact moment, like has some very real merits. And I think it like might depend on the shape of the metagame at the moment, but I think like at this exact moment, I think Fate Foreseen is a stronger card. But I do agree that Sink Below is and will always be the de facto choice for like proactive decks.
Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Elly took the answer right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But like the fact that like Marionette is seeing so much use with Fate Foreseen because it's like Codex of Inertia, Savor Bloodshed. There's so many of these one-off draw effects that they have access to, which makes it crazy when they can just go, okay, flick, draw, and I know exactly. Oh, cool. Here's my T-Tox. You know, just like things like that, where it's just like I know exactly what I'm getting off Codex of Inertia, and I can use it. Great. Now it's the time for me to use it.
Well, it's open interpretation, so I'm going to say Fate is a worse card than Sink Below because I like the art on Sink Below more.
True.
Mhm.
Conversely, if we're comparing the original Fate Foreseen art with the British Sink Below, I
Ooh,
think
the
Sink
British
is
Sink Below is
worse.
pretty good.
No, I hate that art.
No,
Yeah,
that,
I
don't
I-
like it.
that,
I don't
that
like
British
it.
art is not good.
I don't
Yeah,
like
let's
it.
do another open interpretation. I think Fate's better than Sink because it's from a set I like more, which is Arcane Rising.
Yeah, that's good.
Ooh, that's
Which
pretty
is-
good.
Which is the set I opened my eye from. I mean, it would have to be, right?
I like the original art.
Could have
on
been
Fate Foreseen actually a lot as
You're
well.
gonna like,
The orb.
yeah, the work guy. Do you have an opinion before I move to the next
I
one?
think I'm Team Fate.
Cool.
Or no, I'm Team Fate is good.
All right,
So I'm Team Sink Below is bad.
cool.
All right. Next question.
Should lightning loops be nerfed? It is clearly unfair that Sogenmu loops into itself. This is a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 question. No, they shouldn't. They're fine. Get good. Zero's fine.
I think that
um,
when you sign up to play Marvel versus Capcom 3, like obviously you're not signing up to play a fair fighting game. Like that's
They
the
also
flip
made
side
it
game.
harder on the PC version, which is
That's
why
true.
like Cloud 805 doesn't play anymore because he's like, oh, it's not the same. Like it's like I don't know, like compared to everything else in that game, it's like, oh, lightning loops are so broken. It's like, yeah, everyone else is also doing something stupid.
Yeah.
Just don't pick Hashenko and you're fine.
Yeah.
I feel like
so anyway.
that was such a crazy period of fighting games where like this update or patch or whatever would come out and it would be like something you had to pay $60 for and the game would just be completely different between PS2, PS3, and PC or whatever. Like
Yeah.
That's what Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is great because they lost the license to put Marvel characters in the game, so they just couldn't update it anymore. So there's just like this horrible broken nightmare that's super fun to play. It's the best fighting game ever made. But it's
beautiful.
also not flesh and blood related. So
So something that is flesh and blood related. Would Rob still love Jarl if he was a worm?
Yes.
Okay.
all right, cool. Honestly, a discussion about open deck lists without necessarily mentioning the recent drama would be interesting. Well, we did that
We did
and
that?
mentioned the recent drama.
But we
a little
mentioned the
bit.
drama, so we got to start
Oh.
over.
It's gotta start over.
Yeah.
Start over.
Everybody back to square one.
Your guesses on how, in capital, they will balance Viscerai. I'm dying to know. Shadow being strong and Runeblade getting 2 sets in a row. Second time this ever happened. The first time was also Runeblade Monarch to Arya. I'm also sad that he is the first new hero that doesn't need to tap Gur. How do you think they're going to balance?
I think Viscerai is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cool that he's cracked.
I think,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome, and I want him to be really good, and I want him to be like the best deck in the meta game, and they shouldn't balance it.
Yeah.
They should let him
we
just
haven't seen
wreak
like a
havoc.
I
haven't
just
seen a
like I'm
top-tier deck.
excited for something to come out and be kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we need something a little fucked up.
There's
It's
like
been
a
like
lore
a
reason
year
too.
we've had a top
Yeah.
deck like
People-
come out and set.
Yeah, basically Griddy, right?
Yeah.
People crave fascism. Like
I
we
want
crave
to
the Iron
believe
Boot.
that he'll be balanced at the level that most players will play at because he will be hard to play.
He's
I
so
think
He will
that's-
hard to
not
play.
just be. He will not just be Chane, where it's like
Yeah.
I boost my first attack and also sometimes I draw a card. It'll be more like I have to build my deck in a way that makes sense with my ratios. Also, I don't draw a card every time I make a rune chant. Also, if I pitch stack, then my win rate goes way up, but pitch stacking is hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The-
how I imagine it's going to
But then at
The
the Pro Tour
balance-
level, it'll be 8 Viscerais in top 8, and every game will be a banger.
yeah.
Yeah, I
The balance
agree.
is that you have to have vast intelligence to play Viscerai, which is to me a great way to balance the heroes.
Yeah.
That you have to be like Jimmy Neutron brain to truly operate him. They also the same person did a twofer. They said what class/class combination that you'd like to see in Fab.
Shadow Runeblade.
Shadow Runeblade.
Shadow Rune. Shadow Wizard.
Um,
I want to play Shadow Kano with Carrion Husk, and a bunch of other shit, I guess. Like
Mono Mystic.
Mono
No,
Mystic.
yeah,
Mono Mystic, like just Mystic, like
just Mystic.
Mystic Hero.
Mystic.
That's
Hero.
kind of fun. That's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
I'd like to see an ice Runeblade.
Ice Runeblade
Is
could be fucked up.
I
Got
really
it.
thought that they were gonna do with like a lot of the art that got spoiled early on for Mistveil before they started showing off the cards, especially with cards like what's the card like Ghostly Apparition and stuff. I thought they were gonna do Mystic Runeblade, and I would love to see Mystic Runeblade. Like you can do the fucking Jujutsu Kaisen thing where dude's like possessed by a ghost and like, you know, I'm being a nerd. Ghost Sword, whatever. Mystic Runeblade sounds cool.
I want to see an ice ninja because I want to see how bad the hero has to be to balance the fact that it can play ice and ninja cards. Like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the starting health? What's the starting intellect? Is it like whenever you make a frostbite, you also make a frostbite? Like, does it have to be symmetrical? Like, how bad is the hero?
I feel like the answer just ends up being that Ice Ninja is just like a flick flack deck, and they don't
Oh.
get to do that much go again. Would probably be my guess.
The fact that I can do Pitch Blue, Ice Quake, Kadachi, Double Strike, and just look at my opponent and say, how would you like to lose your turn? It really appeals to me on a base
Sure,
level.
Yeah.
sure, I believe that.
And you can grab your boots or Crash Tiger.
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Mhm.
We got
It's not gonna have any power, you dingus.
Mhm.
So I had to scroll down because
Alright,
there was a
la-
whole bunch of questions where I'm like, I'm not reading
Last
that.
question.
We got 2 more that are actually good.
Okay.
So the first is who do we need to focus our Sage bans on for this next season? Have any of you been playing Sage? Can you answer this? Elly, who do you think should be banned?
I believe that Sage is like a ghost. It's arbitrary and kind of just does whatever it wants, and I don't think that applying any sort of logic is like going to get us anywhere.
Who do we vote for?
Like I'm just
Reasonable
like,
take.
oh, sorry, Sage votes. I thought you meant like who should
No,
get
they-
hit on the Sage ban list, and I
Oh.
was
So
just kind of
who do
like,
we
The
need to
voting.
focus our
I was
Sage
like,
bans
this format
on?
is arbitrary. Who cares? I think people are going to shoot whatever the highest performing Runeblade is in the head.
So
Um,
Briar, probably.
I would like to see, like, I would actually enjoy seeing like Briar, whoever goes, so that Viscerai can get some cards back because I want to play Viscerai in
Mhm.
Sage. That's all.
knowing how people are, they're gonna try and ban Blaze and ban, what
Leave Briar in the format.
they're I
I'm
don't
banning
know.
Blaze instant.
People will ban anything. Like I can't believe that they let Fab players vote on stuff. There's no taste, no accounting for taste. Huge mistake.
The AB3 Respite Bolton gets just as much of a say in Sage voting as you do.
I know it bothers me that guy has a voice that he can express. Anyway,
Probably bothers him that you have a voice.
Actually,
I
you
don't
get a
know
voice
if
if you don't
I
play
don't know if he
Sage.
thinks about that sort of stuff. He
I
was
bet he
playing
thinks of every
83
Kano
Oasis
player he's ever
Bolton.
played.
That's true.
He's probably still worried that Kano's around.
Who is
The elevator scene from Mad Men where Tegan's telling this guy, "I feel bad for you." This guy says, "I don't think about you at all."
Yeah.
In context, Don Draper was thinking about that guy, so maybe who knows.
Fair enough.
And then last question that is like a real one and not not something that I literally cannot read on the podcast or
Hello. What did people say?
Well, it's like not it's stuff where it's just like I'm not reading that, Melora. Like
Sure.
shouts out to you, but no. Anyway, so
Shout out,
Capomel
Melora.
asks, and if you were all forced to play one warrior post Mastery Pack Warrior for a calling and a showdown, which would it be?
I got an answer for this one. I'm playing Dory. I'm going 03 and going to the side events.
Nice.
It's a limited, and you don't even have to force me to do it.
I can't find my Olympia Marvel, but I agree. I'm looking for it. It's somewhere over here.
I don't want to pay for Olympia though.
It's Olympia. Well, good thing the Armory deck is sick.
It's true.
If Kasai's
And
still
it
legal, I'm
has
just
all
going
the
to play
inset ends
Kasai.
in it.
Because Kasai seems really good. And if Kasai's not legal, I will do some scouting. Figure out which has the best.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna play Fang, but it's DGA.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
Rob is
I'm gonna
gonna
play Fang.
actually
I'm
kill
gonna
you.
All right, Rob,
Yeah.
what's Rob?
I'm gonna
playing?
tell everyone I'm not playing Fang with DGA.
I'm playing
Go
Hollow.
around all of your locals and
Playing
say,
Hollow?
I really just need a cold foil Obsidian Dagger.
Oh
Please."
man, I think I broke something in Elly with that.
I cannot condone this behavior.
All right, well, that would be the end of our viewer questions. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and shout out to Rob and John for their YouTube channels. And Elly, you also have a YouTube channel as well, but you don't post, but you should post more.
Okay.
Before we go though, and I know Aurora mentioned YouTube channels. Is there anything that you are all doing that you might want to plug?
Starting the 10th of this coming month, I'm gonna be we're gonna try it out, but I have high hopes about it. I felt like we had really good chemistry. I'm gonna be co-hosting the Fresh and Buds podcast with Tommy Fresh going forward.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
stoked with that.
Nice.
Tune into
That's
that.
super cool.
He's got a
Awesome.
couple episodes that are exciting to get out, but then I'll be on. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Cool.
Nice.
Rob, anything?
John, anything?
I just put out a deck tech and discussion with Pablo Pintor on his Spanish Nationals win, which was really cool, talking about kind of how Jarl's coming back. And then I will be doing something pretty shortly with one of my teammates on a Pro Tour capturing Goliath list.
Oh, nice. With Dreaming
exciting.
Pants? Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. And John, anything you got going on that you want to talk about?
Nothing special, but I do live stream usually 3 days a week, Monday, Thursday, Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. Just playing whatever deck I'm interested in. Usually it's Aurora, some Guardian, and probably now some Warrior.
Nice.
Cool.
I'll send you my Olympia list.
I would love to play your Olympia list.
We're gonna
it
do
DGA?
Aurora.
No.
DGA.
Thank you for asking, though.
You just have to lie to people and say that you're not
Yeah.
doing. And Aurora and I are going to. Aurora's going to be doing a stream where she's playing all in Olympia on Friday.
Cool. I'm playing the version that's running 9 when you were about this.
Yeah, Aurora's going to try
Sure,
and risk it all
sure.
on one big trade.
Yes, I
Go
want to see
big,
how
go
high I can pump that sucker.
Yeah, which will be super fun. And that will, because this comes out on Thursday, that will be a thing that you can go and watch tomorrow. So go watch that. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. our time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, thank you for watching, and we will see y'all next time. Later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.